Well, hey. I still got the music playing, and it sounds good. It's from Sonic 2. I don't want to get that wrong. It's Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Hydrocity Zone Act 2, but this is the Sonic Mania extended version. But anyway, Autonomous, Sonic 3, thank you. I should know that. I'm actually, let me get my line. I'm actually down on myself for not knowing that. But no, cool, good to see you, Autonomous. Yeah, let's get into some gaming news for April 25th. I am your host, Adam Blue, professional video game enjoyer for over 30 years. I've always kept up with the industry. I've been a part of the industry in terms of covering games since, you could say late 90s. Early 2000s probably makes more sense by the time I was getting out of high school and trying to do things on my own. But the point of this morning show is to talk about the latest gaming news and what I've been getting into gaming-wise. Some days, like today, there wasn't as much news to cover from the day before, so it'll be interesting to see what headlines we actually run into today. And then I've saved some stuff just in case there's a lack of things to talk about. To start off, what I was playing, and again, I feel like this week might get a little boring with that, but yeah, again, some Dragon's Dogma 2. And the game just gets better and better. And I'm over, actually, I can look it up to see what it is exactly. So I say I'm over 50 hours in it. Let me load up Steam and actually see what it says. Because, so I had this plan, and I think I talked about it, where I've been at the last boss for a long time. And I was like, well, I want to go get some more stuff because I really just don't want to beat the game. There's areas of the map I haven't revealed yet. And as I was doing it, I figured out, okay, well, I'll get this first before the boss, but to get that, I have to get this. And then when I'm doing that, I realize, first I have to do this. And then I'm opening up whole new areas of the map I didn't even know were places and enemies and just landscapes and areas. Like yesterday, I just happened to stumble upon a mountain that allowed me to scale very high into it. It had caverns all throughout. I was fighting golems and giant birds and bandits, and the game just continues to deliver. And I'm even further from going back to that last boss. And it's funny because the last boss actually wasn't too hard. I actually beat all of its phases except for the last one, and the last one was actually pretty hard. I don't carry a lot of potions with me because I want to save them for, certain things if I need it. And what was interesting about this was I'm now, what is it? Okay, so let me look real quick. 57 hours in the game. I have jumped maybe 15 levels from the last time I was at the last boss. So I think when I get to it next, it will be easy. But here's the thing. I don't think the last boss is supposed to be hard. In fact, the last boss is almost like just a way to settle the storyline, but the game opens up after that even more. So I cannot wait to get more into that. But other than that, I haven't really gotten to any other gaming related things. After work yesterday was just stuff with the family, and then do I need to put this down a little more? And then from that it was just chilling. When you got a work week, sometimes you get a little tired and just want to chill. Actually, I was reading comics, as a matter of fact, because of X-Men. I've been getting to that. Okay, so that's that. Let's just jump into some video game news and see what's been going on, because I don't know. All right, Gears of War actor seemingly teasing a June reveal for Gears 6. So I made mention of this maybe about a week or so ago, that there seemed to be some leaks pointing at a Gears 6 announcement. I will say personally, I don't care. I've never cared about the Gears game. I've always tried to play them, and then I would just either never finish them or just forget and move on. I get it, though. I mean, it has some this basic mass appeal functionality to it where, I can understand where it's fun. I just, never got into the franchise. And it's funny, this will always remind me of when before Gears first came out, this was in the 2000s. I was all into the hype of the Gears games, because it looked new, it looked different. The graphics are incredible, the cover system, all this stuff. I was like, this is great. And then before the game came out, I remember there was some previews coming out where journalists were saying this game is really not that great. And then I made a post on my blog back then, BlueGamer.net, like how it's wrong for these journalists before a game even comes out to just trash it when they don't even know what it's about. But I guess there were some things I wasn't realizing at that time where someone had an advanced copy and was able to talk about it, and they were being honest and saying they didn't like it. And it was funny, by the time I started playing it, I was like, wait a minute, yeah, this game really isn't that great. It's super like basic. Here's a third person shooter. Not that it's bad, but just that it wasn't this hyped up game that I thought it was going to be. It was hyped up for, I guess, the mass 360 audience, but when it came to core gamers, I think that's around the time where I realized there was this big delineation between the core gamer and the mainstream, and I think it was Halo, Call of Duty that kind of led to that. Even though gaming was becoming more mainstream because of PlayStation, but I think that shooter scene. Let's see. Oh, and Altronim saying, sounds like the world and gore carried it rather than the gameplay. I think so. Because, again, Gears is popular. People talked about it. People want it. But when you actually played it, it's not like it's anything revolutionary or incredible, but it does a good job of looking like it, especially when you get those chainsaw gun kills. So it'll be interesting to hear. I mean, Xbox needs stuff like this, so I'm all for them announcing this. How accessible are game engines, and how much is still to be done? This is a very interesting article that I think I'm going to share with channel friend Steven of Midnight Hatter, because he's a game developer. He uses multiple game development tools. That might be a discussion to have, with him. I'm going to save that. Oh, Dragon's Dogma 2's latest update nerfs Dragon's Plague, although I think this is old news. Even though... I don't know. So anyway, here's the thing. It's called Dragon's Plague. So basically, pawns, because they could be shared across users and worlds, can get something called Dragon's Plague. It's like a virus. And then if you have that pawn in your world, you could potentially get that on others. I have not witnessed it. I don't change pawns all the time, but I do it frequently enough to kind of go with my levels. But I have some really good pawns right now that I really like. But anyway, throughout this whole thing, I've had them give me that dialogue that a pawn would come into my world and say, hey, I've heard there's a rumor that there's this plague going around, so we need to be careful. And that made me think, oh, does this person have it? But so far, it hasn't been an issue. I think that's a neat game mechanic. I haven't experienced it. So it's interesting that they had to nerf that even more. So maybe for those that did experience it, it like really, really messed up their game. That's very interesting. Actually, let's read just a little more of it just in case. Various changes have also been made to... they're really just saying the same news from before. Even though this does say 24th on here, but let's look at this. Let's see, reducing the infection frequency. Glowing eyes are going to be more noticeable. I mean, I guess when I've been in a rift, maybe I've noticed that. And the rift is an area, you can find these rift stones throughout the world, and when you activate them, you're in another dimension, and then there's all of these NPCs, and you could choose who you want to have on your team. Fixing some issues and implementing adjustments related to the mini-map. Yeah, I remember reading some of this stuff. I guess they're just reiterating it. But it's just amazing. Like, I love this game. It's game of the year for me. For sure. Okay. Capcom raises full-year earnings forecast on better-than-expected game sales. Speaking of... Dragon's Dogma 2, congrats Capcom. It announced today that it has raised its net sales forecast by 8.9% to 152,000 million yen. Okay, I'm not good with numbers, especially from another country. And it increased its net income forecast. So in our core digital contents business, in addition to Street Fighter VI, the latest title in the Street Fighter series being met with broad acclaim globally, Dragon's Dogma 2 was released in the fourth quarter and has performed favorably, the company said. Further sales grew for the catalog. So, and that's interesting because I've heard Street Fighter 6 sales aren't where they want them. But I do think it's still good, and I think coupled with the other strong releases Capcom has, they're set to put themselves in a good position. So, congrats to Capcom. I think when you look at what publishers and developers are doing out there, Capcom seems to be the good guy. And that's what I think is sad when there was that Dragon's Dogma DLC microtransaction controversy just like a few weeks ago. Now no one's talking about it. Like, it's just another example of we don't need that. We don't have room for that. Even journalists shouldn't pick up on regurgitating that. Okay. Next week's free Epic Game Store title has leaked. And what is that? Orcs Must Die 3. Okay, well, I've played Orcs Must Die, and it's actually pretty fun. It's like a strategy game in a way because it's third person. It's like a third person tower defense. But the strategy, because as you're going, you're kind of strategizing how you set up traps. Never played the second, never played the third. And I think Epic Games had like the first two as free games on there, so that's kind of funny. Autonomous, yeah, Street Fighter 6 started strong, but they haven't done a whole lot to keep people. Tons of paid cosmetics, but characters and skins for the existing characters rather than your OC are lacking. That's exactly what I've heard too. And then they had that Ninja Turtle costume set come out, and I think it was like $100 to get them all. And that's crazy because let's say it was $30 and I could get all the Ninja Turtle skins. I might play Street Fighter 6 for that. But when it was $100, it was like, look, I don't even have Street Fighter 6 in the first place. I'm not going to then spend $100 on some Ninja Turtle skins. So, glad you brought that up. There's a little delineation, I guess, with Capcom's practices. Good point. Gary's Mod removing all Nintendo content after takedown notice. Gary's Mod removing all... wow. So, a couple things here. Nintendo has the right to do this. And I think what makes it strange here, it has to do with the way it is being distributed. And I think it's because it's this game you get on Steam and everything's done through Steam. It's almost like it's these official channels for this sort of thing. So I get that. But I don't think that's going to stop people from playing Gary's Mod outside Steam with Nintendo mods. Again, I know we see this as sometimes we think, Nintendo, but this one, I think this one's okay. There's still going to be people that are going to mod their games with Nintendo stuff. It's within the means you do it, I think. I don't know. Interesting. Anyone out there play Gary's Mod? I did back when it first came out. Yeah, 2006. I remember being in the first house I had where I was a bachelor, and I would just play PC games all day. Steam, had already been out for like a couple years by then, and it was just so awesome. Me and my friends just having LAN parties and downloading Steam games. Okay. Autonomous, I just wonder what made them do this now of all times. That is a good question. There are so many things Nintendo could pick at. And so many things it seems like they would and they don't. So when you look at the things they do, yeah, you got to wonder what is... So, for instance, for that whole Yuzu shutdown, that makes sense. Because people were charging, again, for Tears of the Kingdom to get it working on PC before it was even out. With this, I wonder if it's just more of... I think it's because, again, Steam, it's almost like an official means. It's like a storefront in a way. And then, even though it's not, but it kind of is, Steam has become that. And I think that's where Nintendo is then seeing that, where the Steam platform is this official platform publishers use to release content. And at this point, users can too. And it's a lot of, Nintendo. It's interesting. Could this mean Nintendo's looking to do more in the PC space, or is it just more of they are trying to separate themselves from official storefronts? That could be it. All right. Okay, Frostpunk has sold 5 million copies since launch. So Frostpunk, this is an RTS, and I tried it, and I couldn't get into it, but it could be good. Sometimes I'll play an RTS, and the beginning is always a bad example of what a game is, and then later on it gets awesome. I think Frostpunk could be that because they're making a sequel. This this publisher, 11-Bit Studios, is a very neat publisher. I was just yesterday looking at some of their games because my brother showed me this new game that it didn't make any sense. It looked very artsy. It had like a woman in it. It didn't show any gameplay. I don't know what it is, but he was saying, hey, this looks cool. And I was looking at, well, who's the publisher? 11-Bit. And I looked up their games. They have a very varied game portfolio. And I think that's actually pretty smart. Okay, Steam refund policy updated to include pre-release playtime. Interesting. That is interesting, right? Because I made a comment about this where I'm not crazy about buying games that are early access, and is that what this means? Let's see. In a short update posted on its website, Valve simply said the change applies to gamers or games that are in pre-purchase and offer advanced access, adding playtime. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that makes sense. So let's say you're able to play, or not that it's early access. This is more demo. I wonder if there's a specific game they're trying to call out here, because let's say Dragon's Dogma had that, but it was just a character creator. What if you spent 2 hours in a character creator? Yeah, this does not apply to beta test. Oh, wait. For example, let me read this. Looking at the details in the refund policy, this applies both to titles with advanced access, which Valve defines as a feature that allows users that have pre-purchased a game to play prior to the game's official release. For example, a deluxe pre-purchase version may include advanced access, as well as early access titles. So it does. So that's the thing with early access. Games change a lot from early access. But this is where I'm getting at it. If you're buying something early access, and maybe a lot of people don't know this or understand it, but it's plainly there when you go to buy a game on Steam that's early access. It's like, this is not finished. You're helping development. So I could see why they would not give refunds after the early access is over and then you play it and you don't like it, because you're almost submitting to, yes, I'm going to be helping play this game and kind of show it off or whatever. So that makes sense. Let's see. Oh, some Escape from Tarkov news. I don't follow this game, but I know it's super popular. I'm gonna have to try it sometime. Let's see. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It gets a trailer. That's a new Nintendo title from what might seem like a dry year for Nintendo. Some wizardry stuff. Don't know. Rose and Camellia collection. Way Forward and limited run games. Interesting. Oh, I remember seeing this. This is a game where you like slap. It's very interesting. I don't know if some of this kind of shows what's going on, but like, you just have these conversations with people, and then it's like a mini game of using the motion controls to slap. It's kind of funny. I wouldn't mind checking it out, because that is kind of a unique little thing. Yeah, we'll see. Look at that. That just looks pretty funny in Counterattack. I don't know. I mean, that is like super turn-based, right? But looks cool. Stellar Blade will be patched to remove hard R graffiti. I don't understand that. It was recently discovered that one location in Stellar Blade is home to a piece of graffiti that's unintentionally racist. In a location that houses a vendor, the word hard is sprayed. Blah, blah, blah. Let me see. Interesting. So it says hard here and then R, and I don't know. I must be out of the game. I don't know what reference this is. I'm sure if my brother's playing, it's not like he's gonna turn into a racist because he saw this. Like, that's interesting. Some things go too far, but it could just be I'm not in on what's going on here. Yeah, Tronimus is saying, who is that racist against? Yeah, I don't know. Tongue-in-cheek reference to a slur, hard R. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a stretch, but I don't know. I don't. Anyway, Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone Season 3 Reloaded has been detailed. I was just thinking the other day I want to jump back into this. It just needs to be a little more fresh in terms of the content. Let's see. Gran Turismo 7 update. Wow, I haven't even played that. And I meant to play it with the VR. I haven't played it. Oh, I don't know how real this is. This is from yesterday. President Joe Biden signs bill to ban TikTok in the United States. Signed a bill. We could see the popular social media app taken offline in the country. According to the bill that was signed by Biden Thursday, Chinese company ByteDance will have to sell TikTok off in order. Okay. I don't know. There's a lot to that I don't think it's for our benefit anyway, so I'm just going to move on. Let's see. Assassin's Creed Mirage Director has ideas for extending Bassam's story, but not with DLC. Too bad. I feel like this Assassin's Creed would probably be good, but it came out in a time where people were tired of Assassin's Creed, and it had a little fanfare to it. But I played it, and it was fun. I just didn't need it, I guess, at that time. So, let's see. Blizzard hiring for an unannounced game. I wonder how much this is related to Microsoft in terms of the game they're working on, the backing. That's especially if it's unannounced. Let's see. Sandland, TikTok thing. It's funny. This is the first I'm hearing of this, so it must have not been too big of a deal, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention yesterday. Between work and other stuff, sometimes I don't get all the news. But I think that's it. Yeah, again, it seems like, news has been sort of slow. Let's go. There's something I found here. Where is it? Okay. Biplane Shoot 'em Up Sopwith is celebrating its 40th birthday today. It's one of the oldest PC games still in active development to this day. So I had never heard of this ever. But apparently it's a game that's been around for 40 years. You could play right in your browser. 84, 85, 80s. Huh. It seems like there's people that have sort of like single player against a computer. What's the difference? Now, this looks like something I've played before. Oh, I died. That's pretty neat, actually. I just don't know how to take off, or I think it was telling me the controls. Oh, there we go. I was doing something there. Okay. Oh, it was showing me controls. All right. Let's try this. Let's see. Nope. Wrong button. There we go. Whoa, look at that. Oh, okay. Yeah, I played this in the past. That's pretty neat. I don't know the controls, but I'm doing something. And there's a shoot button. And I loved this time period of computer games because they had the kind of voxely style of bits to explode. Remind me of that game where you were gorillas throwing bananas at each other or something. Yeah, old school PC games. It was just something to do, that was kind of fun. But okay. I think that just about does it for today. Not too much going on, even not too much going on with me, but some stuff. I'm trying to think what are going to be the titles for this episode. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Let me know anything you've been playing or plan to play, but we'll talk again tomorrow. So, see y'all later.